Hello everyone. This video is long overdue, but made all the more important by recent events surrounding Kyle Kashuv. He is the Parkland shooting survivor that we hear the least about because he is against gun control and conservative. He graduated top of his class with a nearly perfect SAT score and was accepted into Harvard. But this offer was rescinded after a Google document of his use of the N-word was leaked, and a bunch of self-righteous, anti-racist activists hounded Harvard, who I'm sure was looking for any decent excuse to exclude him. Now, when I first heard the story, my guess was that his use of the word was inane and purely for shock value. And indeed, if you find the actual post, this is the only reasonable interpretation. The messages are practically completely unintelligible. And indeed, this is what Kyle Kashuv has told the media as well. Naturally, the actual context surrounding the use of this word is deemed irrelevant. In the status quo, there is a presumed dominant social context which is presumed to be set in stone, and there seems to be nothing we can do to change this, ever. Just as the collectivist rejects property on an individual basis while accepting it in a larger social sense, they reject meaning itself at the atomic level, in favor of presumed social superstructures. This social meaning somehow comes into being despite being made up of instances of word use that apparently cannot be contextualized individually. So this is my defense of using the N-word. You all know which word I'm referring to. I will not say the word. And should anyone suggest that it is hypocritical to defend the use of a word without demonstrating its use, I will remind you that one can condemn the power one wields over another without charging blindly into a confrontation. To recognize and begrudgingly accommodate this power, which is the omnipotent threat of unpersoning, actually supports my arguments. And this is not irony, it is not hyperbole. The N-word is currently the most powerful word in the English language. In the Harry Potter series, people dare not speak Voldemort's name, referring to him always as he who shall not be named, or you know who. And it elegantly depicts the degree to which Voldemort has influenced society and reflects a form of terror so thorough that it reaches the individual and bleeds deep into their linguistic core. In reality, you know who is the N-word. And in reality, everyone reads 1984 and supposedly takes very seriously the importance of language and its relationship to thought. Yet, when anyone dares suggest that it is wrong that people are barred from using this word, the word that shall not be repeated, people are quick to dismiss the concern. Even now, I'm sure that some of you think I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. But this word is the most powerful word in the English language and has, to a significant degree, warped our entire conception of language and our moral and ethical principles with it. You know which word is, more so than any other word, a monument immortalizing a power relation. The implications surrounding this permanent, unchanging, and unchangeable status are a doorstop preventing us from understanding the fundamental nature and purpose of language itself. Words are tools. These tools deliver meaning from one person, the person using them, to those who listen. Therefore, it is the person using the words who is the best arbiter for clarifying the precise meaning of that instance of the use of words. Dictionaries are then able to offer definitions for words based on the perceived common use. But dictionaries do not define words, and neither does the listener. A person that uses words in a way that is confusing can be criticized on those grounds, but no other person has any authority whatsoever to say what that person actually meant by saying them. This places a responsibility on the speaker to be clear with their words, but also makes the listener responsible for making an effort in good faith to understand the true meaning behind them. All of this goes out the window when we're dealing with the N-word. The mere utterance of the associated phonemes in quick succession is sufficient grounds to condemn the speaker. It doesn't matter if there is no explicit context surrounding it. It carries a uniquely presumed implicit context as an inseparable package deal that no human, not even a black human, has the power to decouple without, at the minimum, altering the word. It makes no difference if the context is ironic, satirical, fictional, or strictly offered for the purpose of condemning the word's use or existence in other contexts. The only notable exception is the use of the word by black people under the pretense of taking back its power, which is merely another expression of social justice irony, like the stay-at-home mom who believes feminism has gone exactly one step too far, the transgendered athlete, or the Western hijabi. The argument was never rational, nor was it ever really about them. It was bound to come apart at the seams. It's a treatment, a band-aid meant to cover the most obvious paradox, which only serves to further complicate a phenomenon that had no business existing in the first place. But to erase this contradiction by saying, well, nobody should use the word, is no solution either. It is the conclusion that one of Pavlov's dogs would come to. And if Pavlov's dogs could reason, they would say, it has nothing to do with conditioning. I don't want that food. It's probably bad for me. When children are raised to avoid an arbitrary series of words, we are simply training ourselves to shut down our ability to reason. We believe that so long as we follow these rules, we are good people. When challenged, we make up reasons to defend our rule. We can't say these words because they're vulgar. We can't say these words because they hurt others. Yet it's quite obvious that we don't apply these standards consistently. Look a person in their eyes and tell them sincerely, you're being snotty, instead of, you're being an asshole. And the former can be just as effective. There is no shortage of ways to use words in vulgar or offensive ways that conveniently avoid curse words. Compare the N-word to the term basketball American. Is it very hard to conceive of a context in which the latter is actually more harmful or offensive? Let me be clear, this isn't really about black people. But for the existence of black people, another N-word would have incarnated. It is a shrine to Pavlovian ethics. And this entire approach to ethics, where people simply avoid a list of naughty words so that they don't have to ever think for themselves, needs to end. It is only useful as a means of warping our moral compasses such that we view the general issue surrounding the monument as more important than it really is, making us more easy to manipulate. Look up virtually any word in the English language, and you will see multiple definitions that shift over time. There are words that go out of fashion and new words that are invented. Everything we know about language suggests that it is unnatural for us to mark specific words as eternally off limits. And ironically, the N-word is the greatest boon to white supremacy that has ever existed. If you truly despised a group of people, what better weapon is there than a two-syllable self-destruct code? I maintain that every single person who legitimizes the power of the Voldemort word is an unwitting agent of white supremacy. The bottom line is that we need to wholeheartedly reject the practice of allowing the listener to pretend that they have any authority in defining the meaning of an instance of a word. This authority belongs to the speaker, and we all already know this. So stop the doublethink and see the N-word for what it is. It is the Voldemort word, and those who condemn those who use it are agents of darkness and enemies of humanity. These are not ethics fit for humans. These are ethics for dogs. Pavlov's dogs have an excuse. They're dogs. So what's our excuse? Thanks for listening.